Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to your Gameweek 22 Part 1 Q&A with myself, Az, and Mrs. Sam Bonfield. How are you, Sam?
I'm all right. That was a very formal introduction.
Full title for this
Full
one.
title.
I thought I'd do. Yeah.
I suppose you didn't call me Samantha.
I know. We've got had a few people already saying good afternoon, Asmantha, says referee Rick. Like that as well. Sam, I can't believe you haven't commented on it yet. Notice anything different?
What? Oh, the bookcase has changed.
Yeah, new bookcase.
I didn't notice. Do you know what? That's because we were having some, in a surprise to no one, we were having some tech issues. So I didn't really pay any attention to the background. Oh, I like it. It's smart.
It's nice, isn't it? It's a lot more sturdy, is how I describe it. You know, the other one was literally sagging and falling apart.
It was terrible.
Yeah.
Last week, I genuinely thought that one of the... Because it was like that, and I was like, that shelf's going to go midstream.
I carried it, because I carried it downstairs to, get rid of it. And as I was carrying it, bits of it were just falling off, down the stairs. I tripped over one of them. The back was made of cardboard. It was like the cheapest thing ever. But anyway, I'm sure that's why people are here, to hear about my
it looks lovely. Thing. I like that new one. That's much better. And it looks all nice and smart and organised.
It does, doesn't it? Yeah, I thought it was quite nice. Referee Rick says, first of all, out of Az and Sam bingo card, tech issues. Yeah, put together a bingo card for us, Referee Rick. Be interested to know what we... Referee Rick, not Referee Wick, as I just said. Did you have to buy more books? No, I actually had some books sort of on the, kind of trapped away. They couldn't even make the shelf. So I've actually got room for even more books.
Oh, when we come up for our date night, next week? Is that next week? Week after? I'll bring a book for you, for your bookshelf.
Okay, I wonder what that's going to be. I don't even know what kind of stuff that you read. So, yeah, 20 Shades of Grey or something. 50 Shades?
I won't bring you something that I read. You don't want that.
Oh, God. Here we go again. Bingo. I'm sure that's on someone's bingo cards. Monkey Man, do we have the right date? Yes, of course you do. Sorry. Yeah, just a little bit late. But,
always.
Everything's a bit difficult at the moment. We don't even know what day it is. Is there a game week this week? It's the same game week as last week.
And just to confuse you all,
it's throwing everything.
And next week, I think, aren't we going Wednesday next week? Because I'm away Thursday, Friday. So if you want me, we got to go Wednesday.
Yeah, why
so
not?
It's going to be even more complicated. You get us on a random Wednesday.
I know, we were like, this is what we're like. Friday every week is going to be nailed on. But yeah,
we've done more Thursdays lately, haven't we?
It does mix it up a little bit.
Let's keep you all on your toes.
Anyway, we do obviously have some FPL stuff to talk about. Let us know how your game weeks are getting on in the comments. As you can see, Sam and I are both on a red arrow so far this week.
Means nothing.
Yeah, I'm on a -8. I'm hopeful though. With Saka captain, with João Pedro, with a Stupinan, I reckon they can turn this round.
Yeah, I got Saka captain. I got my double Brighton in this week. I'm feeling good. Still got 6 to play. I have benched Martinez.
I played him. Way. I got points.
I want Ariola to get the flu or something and be out for a week, and then Martinez can come off my bench.
I mean, last time everyone doubted Ariola. Look what happened. Massive haul.
Well, I'm only doubting him because I would rather have banked the Martinez points.
Yeah.
So annoying. It is what it is.
Yeah. Jimmy W says, do you think captaining João Pedro was a wise move? I nearly went for him. He's my vice. I was right up until the deadline. Yeah, right up until the deadline, I was switching between Saka and Pedro. In the end, it was a coin flip, and I looked at the stats. Palace's stats were worse than Wolves, and Saka had slightly better underlying numbers than Pedro. That's literally all it came down to. I think Pedro's a lovely captain this week. One thing I did notice though is Ansu Fati looks like he's back in training. Ooh. So do watch out for him, because he obviously has a bit more competition to Pedro's place, and we've seen previously that when there's competition, Pedro is at risk of being benched. Yeah.
That would be such a you thing to happen. That would.
Not this. He's not back this week. I think he's just returned to training. So I think we've got a Wolves.
You're right for Monday.
I think we'll be right for a couple of weeks as well. Fax says, I feel like Saka will mess us about. Should have gone with Palmer. Yeah, I mean Palmer 10 points. Would you take that? Would you take the swap?
Yeah. So I was saying this on the official pod this morning, and I said it on the FPL Family live stream. I thought I'd captain Palmer this week, and I must have moved it because it was Max's birthday last weekend, and I was faffing and we were having birthday parties. It was all nonsense. There was a lot of nonsense. There's a lot of 10-year-old boys in my house, and it was a bit chaotic. And I genuinely thought I'd left the armband on Palmer. And when I opened the app, because I was busy Friday night sorting out party and everything else, I didn't really pay any attention to FPL until Saturday morning. And I opened the app and was like, when did I move the armband to Saka?
Sorry, I get called a casual and all names under the sun for my accidental bench boost. And here you are, you don't even know who you've captained.
Well, genuinely, I don't know when it happened because my captain's armband was on gross for nearly all of the day on Friday. And then I remember I built the cake and it was sat there and I was about to put the fondant on it and I was like, I don't know. Gross feels like differential enough having it.
Yeah.
I get that. I think I'll go Palmer. So I moved it and I remember vividly moving the armband to Palmer, hit save, done, put my phone down. And then I do remember there being a thought process in my head that was like, oh, I've got the whole family over Saturday lunchtime. Chelsea game's going to be on. I'm throwing a birthday party for the boy. Do I want the stress of my captain playing whilst I'm doing this? Given that also my dad and my brother are Chelsea fans, I was like, I can't be dealing with them being annoyed about Chelsea and then me being annoyed about my captain blanking and then trying to be happy for my child on his birthday. Like, it all feels a bit too much. So I do remember thinking that, but I don't remember changing the armband, but I must have. I must have gone, I'll just put it on Saka then.
Maybe Lee did it. He was like, do you know what, I can't have a...
He definitely didn't, because I told him I had captain Palmer during the party. He was like, who have you captain? I was like, oh, Palmer. And then the next day he was like, I thought you said you captain Palmer. I was like, I don't know what happened.
It's interesting with things like that, because like real world stuff,
real
kind
life.
Of what you can, like, you know, like sometimes people captain a player if they go into the game or the match, for example, and that factors into it. A lot of people didn't want to captain Palmer because he was the first game of a 2-game week. And they were worried that if he blanked, you'd be, you know, stressing about it all week. But actually, it's had the reverse of it. I think people have taken those 10 points.
They feel calmer.
And I don't think anyone would be sacrificing those 10 points to see what Saka does. And if you gave me the option now, I'd take Palmer's 10. So
yeah, you too.
I think you'd be pretty happy. Lee's in the chat saying excuses. Yeah, that's what it sounds like to me as well, Lee. Well, Saka has some... I'm seeing a lot of people on Twitter...
I'm not bothered about the Saka captain. I think it still could be quite good.
It's weird. I'm seeing a lot of people like, oh, we really messed up here, guys, like, and all that. It's like, he's even played yet. Hodgson and Palace aren't exactly flying at the moment, are they? Hodgson's on the brink.
Saka will be fine, I think, as a captaincy. Like, if I'd have opened the app and I'd captained, like, I don't know, some randomer, then I might have been unhappy about it. But I was like, oh, Saka's fine. Like, he was in my captain contenders. Like, it was Saka, Gross, or Palmer. But no, I mean, I think, look, if you've got 10 points out of your captain, you're happy. But I quite like the fact that I've still got
but you still feel like it could, if Palmer had got 15, you'd be like, okay, Saka isn't matching that. But 10, I think Saka could get in and around 10. It shouldn't be too bad. FPL Tic Tacs went for Tony.
Ooh, I quite like that.
I think he's one of those ones, though, he's a differential enough.
A bit like I said about Gross.
Yeah. But then I can see why you would, given the fixture against Forest and things like that. But yeah, I mean, good luck. But yeah, it was a little bit.
I'll be interested to see how Tony plays. I'll be watching that really carefully because I'm kind of intrigued because he's making such weird statements, isn't he? I want to repay the faith at Brentford. One minute, next minute, I want to move to a big club.
I know.
What?
He's a funny guy, isn't he? Because like I saw there was a post about him, like Brentford fans, like, what do you make of these comments from Tony? And the general consensus was kind of, obviously don't like the comments, don't really like him. He said some pretty negative things about them in the past when he did that video saying F Brentford and all that. But they're like, he's our best player. Like, we're obviously going to get behind him. We want him back and we all accept he's going to move, like, when the opportunity arises. So,
but the thing is, there's a respect thing, isn't there? Like, when Harry was going to leave us, it was like, he never said anything detrimental about Spurs, and never has, even since he left. He's just got to quietly let it happen, go about his business, found his club, went off, was respectful when he left. With Tony just coming out and going, I want to play for a big club. Like, that's really disrespectful to Brentford, who have been nothing but loyal to him during all of this drama that he's created for the club. Like, doesn't sit well with me. But from an FPL perspective, I think I quite like it, particularly with the double coming up. Like, I do quite like it. But then, is he even going to be there by the time the double rolls around? With the January transfer window open. And I also just think, you know, we said last week, didn't we? Like, yes, all right, you've been training and you've played some matches with the under-21s, but there's nothing like match fitness in the Premier League. It'll be interesting to see how he comes back.
Yep. No,
particularly when they've got no one else either. Like everyone's injured or suspended.
He's straight back. They're not very good at the moment, are they?
No.
So it's either does he come in and transform Brentford and make them a better team? Do they score more goals, get more wins, or does he come into a struggling team and he himself struggles? I mean, he's an amazing player. Like genuinely, I rate him so highly. I think he's one of the best in the league, and I think he could play for any team in the league. So having that coming back is going to be massive for Brentford, but they need points quickly. There's a lot of pressure on him, and he might have his eye on a move. So you just don't really know how he's gonna do. If it says I don't have Saka, but now I feel like I should have captained Palmer. Yeah, like we said, I'm still hopeful of Saka returns, but I think if you offered me the 10, I'd probably take it. You like a return from the keeper.
I also think that we only feel like that because the game week's been long. Had Palmer done that Saturday lunchtime and then Saka played Sunday or Monday, I don't think anyone would have felt like, oh, I should have done that. Like the Palmer captain haul, it's not huge. It's a good return, but it's not a huge return. So I don't think anyone would have regretted it had this been a more normal game week. But because it's been over such a long period of time, you keep looking at it going, I wish I had those points in my team now.
I think it hurts more because you go from the Christmas period, which is like a game week almost every day, or like a matches every day, to suddenly this hugely drawn out a week. Zia Brahman says, my rank is 100k. Can I still win FPL this season? What do you reckon on that? Let me find out where about 100k is. Oh, you're about 100k. How many points have you got?
I don't know. I do. Isn't it like 220, I think? I think Kel said it on the pod this morning. I think that's what I got.
Andy North is 107,000. He's got 1229.
There you go.
And the person leading has 1386. So you're 160 points behind first. Could you catch that up? Very unlikely.
I think it's unlikely, but I don't think it's impossible. If you get your chip strategy bang on, it's not impossible.
It's not impossible, but it would be a hell of a... I mean, you'd need something like a triple captain on De Bruyne when he got those 4 goals against Wolves. Because that would be 30, 60, 90, something like that. And then you're still 70 points off. Then a decent wild card.
40 points on a bench boost for a big wild card.
Ziad, don't lose hope, but...
Top 10k is 100% on.
Yeah. I think the bigger question mark is, can FPL Chai win FPL? He's 4th in the world.
Yep.
Yeah. Cool. We should talk about KDB again from FPL Tic Tacs. KDB pump went well. Probably too much to ask for a Tony haul. Going for KDB and Tony was very punty this week. What are your thoughts on De Bruyne? That size says it all.
Yeah, but because I know everyone's gone like Kevin mad the last week, and I get it because those 21 minutes or so he was epic and changed the game. But my God, he was done, wasn't he? Like he's doing the interview at the end of the game, and he's like, he's knackered, and he's actively saying, my lungs can't take it for any more than that. That's all I've got. Like I'm out now. When I'm investing 10.4 million in an FPL player, I don't want them going on national TV, international TV, saying my lungs are gone after 20 minutes, because that doesn't bode well for as many returns as is possible. Having said all of that, obviously they're on winter break at the moment, so they're doing warm weather training, more minutes in his legs, more practice. That's all going to be beneficial to his fitness and boosting that. We've got the FA Cup tie. And because they've drawn Spurs, you would expect it to be full strength Man City that plays that one. So it'd be interesting to see how long KDB gets in that game. Does he start? I doubt it. But does he get more than 30 minutes? Because that's probably a good indication as to how quickly his fitness is improving. I think he's one of those players that I'll look to have closer to 25, but not now.
It's an interesting one because we've got money, haven't we? We've got money flying around. We've sold Son. We've got Salah. Haaland's not an option for us. We don't know what the status of him is. I think that's going to be the key, isn't it? When they get back from this training camp and Pep says, Haaland's a lot better now. He's been having more recovery and he's going to be ready for Burnley. Then it's like De Bruyne is not even a factor I don't think, because everyone's going to be moving back to Haaland. If it's another case of, Haaland's had another setback, he's going to be out until the end of Feb, then it's like, well, we want to be getting more City assets rather than, I still think Foden's the key one, but then it's who do you look at? And I think, you look at Alvarez, he hasn't really been setting the world alight. You look at maybe someone like Doku, but then there's Grealish in the wings. And it's like, actually, although might have reduced minutes, the most explosive option here is De Bruyne to go for. So, yeah, I know what you mean. It's a lot of money to pay for someone who isn't guaranteed to start.
Or even get more than 20 minutes.
Why has it got to be Burnley at home next?
I know, and I get that it's, he could easily get stuff off the bench against Burnley. I get that. But I do, that Spurs game I actually think is quite handy for us as FPL manager. I mean, I wish to gosh we'd drawn somebody else. But from a FPL perspective, the fact that it's going to be a game that they've never scored at Spurs, they've never won a game at us, they've got to come and try and win if they want to get through. We're going to want to get through because it's our only opportunity for a trophy. So they're going to have to come and play a full strength team. So if KDB's fit, and I wouldn't have thought he'd throw Haaland straight back in, given he's had setbacks and all of that kind of stuff. So that's the key for me. What the team sheet for that game and the number of minutes that KDB gets against Spurs in the FA Cup will be quite telling. Yeah,
I'm undecided. We've got more time to wait, but I'm tempted just because I've got the money. I mean,
You're always tempted.
I know. I kind of just dismissed him a minute ago as well, but I am looking at Doku. As
Are
well,
you?
as someone? Yeah, I just think what other City players are there?
Rodri?
You're not going to go Rodri over Doku.
Bernardo Silva?
Silva's an option. I just have something cheaper. a bit kind of against Silva in a way.
What's he done to you? He's lovely.
I mean, he's doing well. He's got 10 attacking returns like so far already this season.
I just don't trust Doku. I don't know. I just don't. It's the minutes rotation risk with Grealish thing, I guess.
Yeah, but then
that's across the whole City team,
exactly, and De Bruyne has got the minutes risk as well.
Yep.
Like Doku's more likely to start, I think, in the next couple than De Bruyne is.
I'd say that's true. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, Bradley Gardner, aren't you bringing in KDB building towards Gameweek 25? Yeah, Gameweek 25 is the key, isn't it? For anyone who doesn't realise, Man City have got a double game week in that week. 2 home fixtures as well, Chelsea at home and Brentford. Really key to make sure we get the 3 best. We don't know who they are yet, but you want to make sure, is it Haaland, Foden and De Bruyne? Do we go for a defender? Is it a Walker? Is it an Edison? Maybe. Is there one of these kind of 6-7 million options like a Doku, a Grealish or a Bernardo Silva that emerges? We need to kind of wait and see. But Tic Tac says, I like Bernardo. Fac says, have Bernardo. It's kind of pick though you don't expect points from. Yeah, that's how I see him. That's how true. I see him as well. Yeah.
But I think the thing is that the games are that double game week is fairly spread out for Man City. It's not terrible. And then the next few games, like obviously it's Spurs in the FA Cup, and then they've got a bit of extended period of time until the Burnley game. So there is decent recovery time for these players in between it. I don't know. I mean, if Haaland's fit, he's going to be straight in my team. I'll have the conversation with myself about who makes way. Is it a straight swap out for Alvarez? And it probably is. That was the original plan, is that I just go Alvarez to Haaland and be done with it. Or there is question marks about Watkins at the moment and whether I move Watkins to Haaland and hold Alvarez for the double and go with those 2. And then maybe move Alvarez out to somebody else straight after the double game week. Because even if I hold him for the double, he's not somebody I'd want to hold long term. And then it will be who is the third? Is it KDB? Can I make that work across my team structure? Is a Bernardo Silva actually a better option for me because he's cheaper? It's easier to fit him into my team. Do I go for Foden because I still don't have him at the moment? But Foden's one of those players to me, a bit like Reece James, where when I bring him in, he seems to not return great. Like he seems to be one of those players that every time I own him just doesn't quite do what I think he will do. I love him. I think he's a fantastic player. Just never seems to quite work out when he's in my FPL team, weirdly.
See, it's so interesting because like it's amazing how you can have completely different perspectives. Because
yeah.
I have James on my wall because that's fine, because he's been so good. Foden has always done well for me when I've had him, and I've managed to kind of hop off at the right time. He was so unlucky against Newcastle not to get something, and if he got another goal or another assist in that game, I think everyone will be moving for him. And now De Bruyne has just added that little bit of spice. But that makes me really happy, because if people are going to be moving to De Bruyne and ignoring Foden, I'm more than happy. That Foden, to me, is the standout asset in that team by a long way.
It's easy to get to as well. So, I mean, I likely will end up with Foden for the double, to be honest. It's just the facts, I think. But I'm just waiting for Haaland news, because that Haaland news is going to be quite big for me. Because if Haaland's not back, if the setback keeps him out past the double, then I'll just hold Alvarez. So then that's already one of my forwards. That's one of my City picks done. So then it kind of narrows the other options, I guess. Yep.
Ziad says, what are the best chip strategies going forward? I saw you on the pod saying Gameweek 24, you're potentially thinking of wildcarding.
Yeah, there's a few windows, I think, that are in my head. I spoke today about the first couple. So Gameweek 24, I think, is an option, depending upon how your team is looking and what happens in the FA Cup. I think is going to be quite crucial, because obviously we're going to know next week about the League Cup final, and whether, if Chelsea make it, then Chelsea and Spurs will be off in 26. If Liverpool make it, then Liverpool and Luton will be off. If Fulham make it, it's Fulham and Man United that will be off. So we'll know that about 26. You never know, we might get a bit more information about double game week. Sometimes we do. We've got a couple of fixtures that have still got to be rearranged. We might have that. But most importantly, we'll also have a clearer understanding of 29 and the blank there, because we'll know who's made it through in the FA Cup. So 24 could be good, because you'll have all that information, and you have the players returning from AFCON and the Asian Cup that have gone all the way. So you'll have a full team back, plus transfer windows done. So that's another big tick, because we're not going to get random players incoming that might affect our teams. And you're in a position there where you can target the double game week in 25. So I do quite like it as an option. I also quite like waiting until after the blank in 29 and doing a little bit of dead ending of my team through 26, 27, 28, 29, and then wild carding out of it for 30. Like, that also feels quite nice. Or you just wait a bit longer still. Like, depends on how your team is set on the FA Cup results. I think that's going to be quite crucial as to which window I pick.
Yeah, 29 is interesting, because there could be very few teams left.
Yeah, because we've only got one game currently on, definitely. It could be as much as 8, couldn't there?
Yeah.
So
it could be absolute carnage that week. And I mean, free hit wise, would you consider a free hit in a blank, or would you put it in a double?
Well, I prefer it in a double, but let's be honest, if it turns out that I'm looking at my team for 20 in 24 and think, I quite like the idea of a wild card now, because I can set up and I know what I'm doing, and there's some double game weeks and this, that and the other, then I would not be opposed to using the free hit in the blank. It just limits the options, and it makes it there's less chance of using the free hit to really boost your rank, because if you've only got 4 games, then obviously you've got far less players that you can pick from than you would across a normal game week, and they're only going to play once. And if, the other managers, basically in a blank game week, the free hit template is very, very template, because it's so small, the pool to choose from. So I would prefer to play it in a double, but I'm absolutely not opposed to playing it in a blank if that means that the rest of my chip strategy works better.
And what about triple captain?
Well, 25 looks nice, to be fair. If City continue to play well, if Haaland's back, if KDB's back and playing 90 minutes, then playing it on a City player in 25 feels reasonable. We know that Liverpool will get a double at some point, probably. So
we think that's going to be in 25 as well, don't we?
Well, that's where the rumours are, yeah. So if that happens, then you've got, Salah, depending upon when he comes back from AFCON. And yeah, absolutely. If Salah ends up coming back at the same time as Haaland does, then people are going to be, particularly the people that have bought in KDB already, there'll be a lot of people going, ooh, how do I get both of those guys back in? Haaland and Salah are the standouts for the triple captain, so I'll be looking for double game weeks for them when they're fit enough to play both matches, that I can deploy it.
Late night stream tonight. Deadline dilemmas, I think it's called. Quite hard to say. 10 p.m. tonight.
10 p.m.
And the reason it's 10 p.m. tonight is because that is when Egypt have finished their game. So we're going to know a bit more about the likelihood of Salah coming back. If Egypt lose tonight against it's Ghana, isn't it? Chris Hughton's managing Ghana. If they lose,
and they have to win Ghana. Really.
Yeah. If Egypt do lose that game, they're going to struggle to get through. I mean, if they win their final game, they might go through as one of the best ranked third teams or whatever it is. But
they might not. If not, they're not winning any games.
Well, exactly. I know. I mean, if they lose against Ghana and then they lose or draw in the third game, Salah's back, and anyone that's kept him is going to be absolutely laughing.
Yeah, I will be. I want him back. He's sat on my bench.
Yeah, and like Bradley says, I mean, it could be carnage if Salah and Haaland both get confirmed to be back for 23. Let's say.
Well, look. Exactly. If suddenly we get Salah going out of AFCON and he's back for 22. Oh, and by the way, Haaland's back to play Burnley. Managers that don't have either are going to be going, what do I do now?
I've seen a lot of very non-confident, wherever it is, Ghana fans, though. They
incompetent
are not...
or just unconfident?
Not incompetent. Incompetent Ghana fans. No, they're not very confident of Ghana's chances.
Well, they were poor in
Egypt.
The first game.
Yeah, I don't think Hughton's got them playing a particularly good style of football. But yeah,
it's quite big for FPL though, because
massive.
Either Kudos or Salah's coming home.
Yeah, absolutely.
One of them's coming home, it looks like.
And West Ham are out the FA Cup, so we can invest in... Kudos is a perfect player to own for the run. Yeah, absolutely. FPL Copycat, is Trent a double game week 25 triple captain option if Haaland and Salah aren't back? Is it Luton? They've got? Is that the second game to be rearranged?
If they lose if they win the League Cup, then yes, it will be the Luton game that's postponed. Yeah. I would really hate to triple captain a defender, wouldn't you?
Is he a defender though?
Well, he is, because I mean, he's not, but he is, because you just kind of have that. I don't know. There's that thing in my head that's like, you're a defender.
But it'd be Brentford and Luton in 25.
Yeah. Well, if it goes there, it would be like that. They'd be moving that game forward by a week, because it's not scheduled to be played till 26.
I think if Trent's back,
will Liverpool want that to play in the middle of the week before their cup final? I think Liverpool would push back on that. I'd push back on that if I was the Liverpool press. I don't know what the person is who's in charge of dealing with the Premier League and stuff on scheduling, but if I was that man, I'd be going, no, I don't want to play on a Wednesday night before our cup final on the Sunday. We'll play it.
There's a brilliant piece that Planet FPL did on this. I don't know if you've heard of it. Anyone that hasn't, check it out, where they go into the detail on this. I think what the point they were making about it is that given that Liverpool are expected to progress very far in the Europa League, and in the other tournaments, there's actually very few windows to replay games like Luton.
Yeah, there is.
There could be a possibility where if they don't schedule it in 25, then it might end up being a triple game week down the line, because they have to push all these games together depending on Liverpool's run in the FA Cup and in the conference. Because a similar thing, James points out, happened to Chelsea. Had they reached the Champions League final, the Premier League didn't schedule a game when they could have done it earlier on, and it could have led to a problem if they'd reached a final. But luckily for them, they were eliminated.
But maybe that's why when we had maybe that's why the Premier League won't do anything. I don't know, but in my head,
you run the Premier League, don't you, Sam?
Oh yeah, that's right. I'm in charge of everything. No, I don't. Absolutely not. But you do kind of go, well, and this is why I'm not doing anything about anything. I'm not making any transfers. I'm not even open the app, because at this point, it's so much is going to change depending upon what happens in the fourth round ties of the FA Cup next week and in the League Cup matches, that I'm not in a place where I want to make any rash decisions, because before we have another FPL deadline, all that information is critical. And you would think that once Liverpool make that, And if Liverpool progress, I think they've got Norwich, so they should. If Liverpool progress in the FA Cup, then maybe that's a conversation then that the Liverpool people and the Premier League people and the TV rights people and the Luton people all then sit down and have together, because there's always got to be some compromises when you're rescheduling a game. Nobody would ideally want it anyway. I remember Spurs getting one rescheduled before a cup final as well, which was not ideal. But I just think that's why you wait with all the decisions at the moment.
Yeah, it's a tricky one for the Premier League, because there are few game weeks from January where there's a midweek slot available.
Yep.
To have a game stuck in. That's just in case anyone's wondering why that is the case. And I think that's why we're all expecting is it double game week in 34 and 37?
That's right.
Something like that.
They're blank weeks.
Because they're blank weeks. Whereas, there's Champions League going on, there's Europa League, there's, potentially FA Cup, there's midweek games. I think like 3rd of April is a Wednesday game for Liverpool. Yep. So now I'm getting people kind of riled up about a triple game week. Not saying that's going to happen.
You promised it now.
That would have to be. There'd have to be a very set circumstance. But you talk about Liverpool not wanting.
We have had triple game weeks before.
We have Nicolas Zigic.
Man United had one.
Bruno Fernandes got a haul in that. We had Zigic with a triple game week a while ago. We all captained him for that. I think he got 1 point in each game.
I remember Captain Bruno Fernandes.
Yeah, I think everyone did. That's when he was like a great FPL asset as well, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Those were the days. Interesting times. Yeah, I think definitely. In the end, I mean, I was thinking of wildcarding going into 21. That's in the end, I took the hit. Big hit. I took a -8, which I don't often do, but that was because I just want to see what's going to happen going forward.
By the time, it's important.
Yeah, exactly. Stig says he reckons Egypt loses to Ghana. I like Liverpool's post. They were like, "Go on, Mo Salah, go and win this thing." They're all thinking, "Please go out."
I bet the comments were hilarious. Saw the Liverpool fans going, "No, we don't. We don't actually believe this.
Please come home. Please come home to us."
Even Klopp, he said something, didn't he? Like there was I saw a video of him saying something about like, "Oh, good luck," but it was like really like, not really.
It's a pretty big thing, isn't it? I mean, you're involved in the title race. Going up against a team like City, who haven't actually been affected very much by AFCON, and you lose your talisman and your best player for potentially 3 or 4 crucial matches.
We've lost half our team. Pape Sarr, Basuma, Son.
FPL Big Head is from Ghana and just says we cannot beat Egypt, and then goes on to say we cannot beat Egypt, and it's Chris Hughton's fault. Don't you blame lovely Chris Hughton.
Now hang on, Chris Hughton can't get the blame for everything. I won't have it.
I will tell you, FPL Big Head. I was at a hotel back in May, and who's in the lobby of this hotel? Chris Hughton. And I went and I had a chat with him, and do you know what he was doing? He was watching videos of Ghana games, and he was making notes. So you can't tell me he's not a dedicated manager for the national side.
Oh, bless him.
He was so nice as well. Such a lovely, lovely man. Just sat and chatted with me for like 15 minutes about nothing. Yeah, big fan of him. He's obviously because of the Brighton link. Any other questions that we've got so far? Let's have a quick look. Yeah, quite a couple of people mentioning Watkins as well. Fact says bench Watkins this week. It was a question that we got asked for the Premier League panel as well.
I don't think you'd bench Watkins this week against Newcastle, given how poor their defence have been. If you've got Watkins, you play him.
The question is, do you sell him? When do we run out of patience with him? I mean, he's had 1 attacking return in 4, 2 attacking returns in 7. It's not great, is it? I mean, he's not cheap. He's nearly 9 million now.
So here they are. I read out some stats on the FPL pod this morning. I just got my pod notes back out again. Because I looked at Ollie Watkins between game week, because in the past we've always said Ollie Watkins is a purple patch player. You get him for his purple patches, you get off. You get on, you get off. And there's a lot of players in the Premier League that you do that with. But this season we've kind of gone, might he be a season keeper this year? Because that purple patch was longer. So I had a look and I divided it up. So game week 1 to 14, Ollie Watkins stats, and then 15 to 21, using the comparison tool on the members area.
Good research.
Shout out for the members area. Yeah, exactly. Nice. So from 1 to 14, he got 8 goals and 1 assist. 8 goals and 9 assists. In game week 15 to 21, he's got 1 goal and 2 assists. So a massive drop off. But the key was the underlying numbers. So XG, game weeks 1 to 14, 7.91. Game weeks 15 to 21, 1.47.
Oof.
So it's huge. So expected assists has dropped quite dramatically as well. That's dropped by 0.6. That's a huge drop as well when you're looking at relatively small numbers for expected assists. XG on target has dropped from 8.55 to 0.45. And his minutes per attempt has significantly grown. So he's gone from having an attempt every 29 minutes to having one every 31.5 minutes. So the underlying data suggests you sell. The fixtures don't suggest you sell. Because after the Newcastle game, they're nice. But there are other players that are suddenly coming to fruition. Like, I'm looking at my team going, Solanke's going to double at some point because he's got a match in hand. They've got to reschedule. I can't sell him, and I don't think I want to, really. I've got Alvarez. Well, can't sell him if Haaland's not available. So he's going to have to stay because they've got a double in 25. So I'm then looking across at Watkins going, well, if I do want to change up my striker force, you're probably the one I least like now.
Yeah. And I mean, Tic-Tac says about Isak, hitting some great form. Fixtures are really nice for Newcastle, come out of a nasty run for them. I think the problem with Villa is they've made pretty big change, haven't they? Tielemans has obviously been injured, and now does he come back? Diaby and Bailey have been starting together that we didn't see kind of at the start of the season. We've seen Cash come out of the team. And not be, and he was a key figure for them down the right. And I don't know, there's a I mean, Watkins is the mainstay, but with all the chopping and changing around him, maybe he's just not getting the service that he had before.
No, and I think all of a sudden we have got more options. Like Højlund, it's got to get a shout out at some point.
Really?
But I think the fixtures are all right for Manchester United, and if you're looking for a cheap option, then you might want to go there. There's Werner. We think we need more time on both of those before you'd really invest in either. But they're both there as options, cheap options as well. So you could, if you want, like if you are absolutely set that you want Haaland because he's available again, and Salah and KDB because of the double game week for Man City, and you want Foden, you'd still want to keep Saka in your team, and like there's all of these players then that you want to have. If you want to have them, you probably can't afford Watkins. Watkins has probably got to be a 6.5 million forward, not a 9 million forward.
I mean, if I was building a wild card this week, I don't think Watkins would be on it.
I don't think he would be on mine.
I think you've got Pedro, you've got Isak, you've got Solanke, you've got Kuna. I mean, you've got Tony potentially. Obviously, you've got to have a placeholder for Haaland. I think I'd put all of those over Watkins.
I agree.
Yeah. Weird, isn't it? It's how it all can change around so quickly.
We're fickle, us FPL managers.
Yeah.
Like a month ago, we were going, he's a season keeper. Now we're like,
yeah, and
you're disposable to me.
As Sam Bonfield stands there, I think Tony will take Watkins' place. If Tony hits the ground running against Forest, yeah, we're all going to be
looking at him.
We're all going to be looking at him. Absolutely. Just before we go, I will just say one apology to FPL Bighead, who said we cannot beat Egypt, and it isn't Chris Hughton's fault. I'm sorry.
Well, that's much better.
I'm sorry. I read that as is, but he did say it isn't Chris Hughton's fault. So all my talk about the organisation is not lost on FPL Bighead, because he knows he's a dedicated man, and if anyone can turn Ghana around,
I'll be watching it.
It's be Chris
hoping
H.
Salah loses.
Yeah. Is it on like regular TV?
It's on Sky showing them, aren't they?
On Sky. Okay, cool. Yeah, I might watch that as well. Great stuff, everyone. I hope you all have a good end to your second half to your Game Week 21 game weeks. Sam and I will be back on a mystery day
on
next
a random day next week.
Probably Wednesday, we think, where we'll take some more questions. And
otherwise, it'll just be you with a mystery guest.
I know, it could be anyone.
Because I'm away the back end of the week.
I've had a whole host of people at your place when you've left me. So yeah,
have they ever been as good though?
Never.
You see,
never.
So yeah,
look out for that. And as we mentioned earlier, do check out the Deadline Dilemma stream tonight at 10. Where I don't know who actually does those. Is it Joe and Tom?
No, Deadline Dilemmas is
Prazen, Snaldo and
it's Snaldo and Harry usually, isn't it? Let me check who's on the graphic. Hang on. Hold the line, callers. This makes for great YouTube video. It looks like it's Rich and Praz.
Rich and Praz.
So there you go. That's a dream team for you.
Talk about
we got none of them right.
None of them right. What's Burning Questions is Harry and Snad.
Oh yeah, they do.
So much,
yeah, they were right.
So much content. I will say as well, I had a pleasant little surprise today. I checked the subscriber count for Scout. Just hit over 90k. Seen that? So if you are enjoying this, do make sure you're subscribed to the channel. Do like this video as well. Drop us a comment. 2, check out Deadline Dilemmas with Rich and Praz at 10 p.m.
Notice they give them all the sensible streams and you and me.
Yeah, I know.
Cause some carnage.
Oh, there's Harry. It's Harry in the chat. We are Burning Questions. Praz and Flap.
Sorry
yes,
about that.
Sorry.
It's Flapjack.
Yep. Cool. So check that out.
Sorry, Harry.
And
we gave you a shout out, Harry, anyway.
We did, yeah.
Basically, we've just shouted you out for no reason. So,
free plug.
Be grateful, Harry. You've got a free plug for Burning Questions, There you are.
Lovely stuff. Right, we will see you all next week.
Bye, guys.